Unit 2 Exam Review, question number 19. Rewrite the following equation as a function of x. That means that the only variable that I'm working with will be x, so it'll be y equals x. Y on the left-hand side, that's what I mean, y equals something over here with x. So y is all alone, and I can then rewrite it with f of x. So I'm going to go ahead and do that using Microsoft Word so that you guys can kind of see the work through here. So I'm going to insert an equation just because it makes it easy working with this. 5x minus 7y plus 14 equals 0. So the first thing I want to do is start moving everything over that doesn't have y in it because I want y on the left hand side. So I'm going to just do Control C for copy, Control V for paste, and start moving some things over. So the first thing I want to do is let's move this 14. So to move the 14 or to get rid of it, I need to subtract 14 from both sides because then 14 minus 14 is 0, and 0 minus 14 gives me negative 14, and going to Control V, then I don't have to rewrite the whole thing again, and then I get equals negative 14. Now the next thing is this 5x needs to move over as well. In front of the 5x on the left hand side, you'll see it's positive 5. So to get rid of this 5x, I need to subtract 5x. So I'm going to subtract it from both sides, and the reason we do both sides is that I can't just subtract it from one side. This has to stay balanced. This equal sign has to be true. So if I subtract 5x from that side, I also need to subtract 5x from this side. And I'm going to put the x first just because it makes it kind of nice. I could have done negative 14 minus 5x, but same difference. So these ones are gone, and I end up with negative 7y equals negative 5x minus 14. So the last step in solving for y is to get rid of this negative 7. One thing I didn't state at the beginning is that we're doing the opposite of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So the first thing I want to do is getting all of the adding and subtracting things, all of the terms out, and then I move to the division and multiplication. And so here I need to divide both sides by negative 7 because it is negative 7 times y. So to get rid of that, to continue solving for y, if I divide by negative 7 divided by negative 7 gives me 1. And then I can divide this term also by negative 7 and this term also by negative 7. Another way I could think of that is negative 5x minus 14 all divided by 7, and that works as well. So I could do it this way. In fact, it looks like that's the best way because most of them keep that 14. So let's go ahead and let's keep these guys together and divide the entire thing up here by, you know what? I'm going to do the equation tool up here and give us a fraction. We want this whole thing here. Actually, I think I can do it with some parentheses and then press the space bar and it will move that to fraction. There we go. So pressing the space bar just automatically does it for me. Sorry about that. So that's both ways. I can divide it so the entire left hand side and the entire right hand side are divided by negative 7, or I can divide this term by negative 7 and this term by negative 7. Either way works fine. Now let's go over here and see what, the last step would be to show that, I'm going to paste this negative 7 cancels the negative 7 on top, so the only thing I'm left with on this left hand side is y, but because it's a function I can replace the y with f of x. Whoops. Shift 9, there we go. Okay, so let's come over here. I see it's f of x equals, and they do have the negative 5x. However, this has not been divided by the 7, the negative 7, so this is missing that division right there. So I'm not even going to go any further, so I'm going to ignore this one. The next one, I see it says function of x, and the variable over here is y. And that doesn't make sense because I wanted the equation as a function of x, and it's even telling me the variable is x, but they gave me a variable of y. So ignore this one. Moving to the next one. 5x, they did divide this one by 7. That's wonderful. Unfortunately, they forgot to divide this last one by 7, or didn't forget. They're trying to give you lots of different options. So that one's also not correct because I'm not dividing that by 7. The next one is positive 5x plus 14 divided by a negative 7. Uh-oh, so I have some negativity or negative that's looking like it should have been canceled, but it's not. So that one isn't correct either because I'm missing these negatives at the top and the bottom. Now the last one, you'll notice it's all positive. So some of you might be tempted to do this one because at least it has a negative on the bottom. Now let's come over here. Remember when I had it separated into negative 5x over negative 7 and negative 14 over negative 7? Those negatives can divide out. So I could divide those all by a negative 1, and I would have the exact same thing as the negative 5x minus 14 divided by negative 7, because I can divide it all or multiply the whole thing by negative 1. So this one is the correct answer.